Hey everybody, welcome to Mainly Movies. It might be a bit hard to believe, but we actually have a new trailer today. And not just any trailer, but the first official trailer for Death on the Nile, which is the sequel to 2017's Murder on the Orient Express. Kenneth Branagh's back, directing and starring as Detective Hercule Poirot in another big ensemble murder mystery based on an Agatha Christie novel. Now, I know that Murder on the Orient Express was kind of middling for most people, but I actually enjoyed it and was excited about the prospect of a sequel ever since the Nile was referenced at the end of that first movie. So it appears that the sequel is still on schedule and we finally have our first look, so let's check it out.
The romance of the desert has the power to seduce.
So it's taking that same serious, almost over-dramatic approach that the trailer did for the first one.
Have you ever loved so much? Been so possessed by jealousy.
Got that over-stylized look too.
That you might kill.
You had something to hide.
The crime is murder.
Should have hidden it, shouldn't you?
The murderer is one of you.
I don't feel safe here. I don't feel safe with any of them.
It's too late
Kind of an odd choice of music, but
to face the consequences.
I have investigated many crimes, but this has altered the shape of my soul. I am Detective Hercule Poirot, and I will deliver your killer.
very dramatic. Again, looking at that cast, another big ensemble cast like the first one, but different group.
Are tragedies.
Okay, so we still have an October release date, so that is very good. So this trailer, I think this movie looks very much in line with what the first film had done, or at least the remake of the first one, right? There's been a few versions of Murder on the Orient Express, but talk about the 2017 one. So this looks in line with that, but I guess I should clarify and say this trailer looks in line with the trailer for that first movie, because I think that was one of the reasons that the film, the Murder on the Orient Express, didn't do quite as well as it could have or should have. And so what I mean by that is basically this trailer and the trailer for that first film took a very serious approach, right? They present it as this kind of dramatic, very hefty and weighty mystery with a lot of almost over dramatic presentation of lines and things. And then the movie itself was kind of funny. It was very comedic. It wasn't just like, joke a minute kind of laugh out loud funny, but it was dark humor and had a lot of kind of witty dialogue and humor related to Poirot and how he goes about his detecting and how he was interacting with suspects. And so I think that kind of made this interesting dichotomy between what people expected the movie to be based on the trailer and what it actually was. And so I didn't have a problem with that. I enjoyed it. But I think that was one of the contributing factors to that film's kind of middling or sort of semi-underwhelming nature. And so I'm kind of surprised that they're taking the same approach here, or at least I'm assuming. I could be entirely off base, could be entirely wrong here. They could be going with a very different tone for the actual movie, but I would assume it's going to be tonally kind of on par with the first one and having that bit of humor. But of course it could be actually like deadly serious, but who knows. But based on kind of Branagh and his types of movies, I would suspect that we have another kind of playful kind of humor to the mystery. And so I like the consistency that they're sticking with the same pattern. I mean, consistency even with the posters. I think that's a great sequence of posters there. But I'm surprised they're taking this approach. But maybe they are assuming that people have seen Murder on the Orient Express by now and kind of know what to expect, know the style. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, if that has an impact, possibly on how this movie does. But I think it looks pretty decent. This trailer doesn't give too much away, but it really can't, because we're talking about a murder mystery here. And so I like the cast. I mean, that's basically what we're seeing here. We get little hints of a premise, and then we see the cast. So again, another big ensemble cast who are different from the first one, which I like. I like this idea of having Poirot, having Kenneth Branagh as Poirot kind of come through and actually be the only link between the films, and having new suspects every time. I think that's a pretty cool approach. There is kind of the negative side to that these big ensemble casts kind of get underutilized in these situations, but I think that's kind of just a consequence of a murder mystery film with a lot of people, a lot of suspects. Obviously Murder on the Orient Express kind of suffered from this, but even last year with Knives Out, we had a lot of cast members of that big ensemble cast who barely kind of had a role, that were very minor, only had a couple lines. And so I think it's just kind of par for the course with these types of films, so I'm not too concerned about that. But I'm excited for it. I mean, honestly, I'm just happy we're getting this movie. I'm, happy that right now it's on track. Obviously things have been pushed. Most movies have been pushed and schedules have been altered. So I like that this is still on track for an October release. And then just the fact that we're getting a sequel to this. I didn't think we were gonna. Again, I liked that first movie. And they set up for Death on the Nile based on the very ending of that film, but I didn't think it was actually going to happen. So I was very happy when it was announced, and I just there were so many possible stories here. Agatha Christie, she wrote so many Poirot novels. I think there's like 20 or 30 novels plus short stories plus plays. So there is a ton of source material for more Poirot detective stories. So hopefully this does well and we can see some more of these stories. So anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I don't think it's going to be an amazing movie or anything, but I enjoyed the first one, and I have a feeling that my kind of interaction or appreciation of that first film will kind of tie over into this one. I think it's going to be a similar tone, and so I'm kind of expecting a similar level of enjoyment from it. But we'll see. So that's my take on the trailer, but what about you guys? Are you excited for another Poirot detective murder mystery, or are you kind of burnt out on these types of stories? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. Alright, so if you got some enjoyment or insight out of this reaction, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that like button, and if you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe while you're at it to see more videos like this, as well as movie reviews. Till next time, this has been Alyssa with Mainely Movies, the way life should be.